Good afternoon and welcome to GrainTV. It's July 3rd, 2013. To my left is Logan Burgess and I'm Brock Shimdo. We had a relatively quiet trade in Chicago today. Let's turn over to Fire Tip to see how we ended. Old crop corn was down 3/4%. New crop unchanged. Old crop beans up 3 3/4. New crop up 8 1/4 cents. Wheat Chicago up 6 3/4, and Kansas City wheat was up 5 1/4 cents as well. You know, it seems like wheat really got a boost from some fundamental news that came across the news wires.
Yeah, Brock, we did have a good sale this morning reported to the Chinese. 360,000 metric tons of U.S. wheat going to China for the 13-14 marketing year, so that certainly helped things out there. I know looking at soybeans here, we did see some strength there, particularly on the new crop. You know, you and I were talking about it before the show. Not really a lot of big drivers this morning to really push that. It might have just been some short covering on some light trade action coming into the long weekend here. And corn had an interesting trade in particular. I know yesterday we were talking about that gap that we needed to fill on the December 13 chart. We did fill that gap today within about 1/4 cent, and we sold off quite sharply after that. So that gap's been filled, and certainly in our minds right now the fundamentals lead to further losses in that DS13 corn contract until we get some new information, certainly about production capability out of this crop. Looking at the old crop, we did have a relatively light ethanol number reported out today. Production was down 22,000 barrels per day to 863,000 barrels per day on average last week. Take a look here at the model that we've been charting throughout the marketing year. The blue line is production that we saw last year. The green line is the grain hedge projection, and the red bars are what we see on a weekly basis. So as you can see, a pretty sizable backing off in weekly production here. But as you can see from the green line and what we saw last year, seasonally we would expect to see ethanol production back off a little bit. Certainly the numbers though that we saw this morning didn't really help anything out. I think, Brock, kind of here moving forward, some big information that we got out today was some revisions from Informa. Can you kind of break down what we saw there and what that might imply here moving forward?
You know, private analysts Informa did release their most recent estimates for this upcoming crop year.
Yeah.
No, we didn't see real big changes, and I think what we saw some leftover effects from that Planet Acreage report we saw last Friday. If we take a look at the overall corn production here in this table, you can see that Informa actually increased their overall production for corn by a pretty substantial amount, by about 250 million bushels there. They left the yield, or actually changed the yield just slightly down by about 9/10 of a bushel per acre, so not a big story there, but that still is a relatively high yield compared to what the USDA is projecting.
Right.
You know, 160 really is a question for me if we're going to actually be able to achieve that. You know, soybeans, they did bump that up a little bit, you know, citing higher acres than what was originally anticipated as well, you know, after effects of what the USDA showed on last Friday. And soybean yield was actually left unchanged as well. You know, all production for wheat was left, or moved slightly lower, so not a big story there as well. So I think the thing to take away from this is that overall production for corn and soybeans was actually moved a little bit higher, and I think that's as a result of what the USDA showed us last Friday.
Yeah, certainly some aggressive expectations there from Informa. The next big report that we're going to be getting out is the July WASDE report coming down the pipe here pretty quick, so we'll keep you posted on expectations coming into that. Keep in mind that tomorrow we do have market closures. Take a look here at this slide real quick. As you can see, July 4th, markets are closed. We will resume trading on July 5th at 8:30 a.m. There will be no night session the night of July 4th. So as I said, Friday morning, 8:30 a.m., the markets will open. And we're going to close at the normal time on Friday then as well at 1:15. We're going to be back in the office here on Friday reporting on changes in the grain markets. But in the meantime here, have a great July 4th. Everyone be safe out there. We'll see you back here on Friday.